I've got Sheree-ann here with me today. So happy to have her joining me on this session. Thank you so much, Sheree, for taking time out of your day
Oh,
to
it's a
sit and
pleasure.
chat. Okay, so tell the people about yourself, like just a little bit about yourself and where you're from, what you do, and maybe something interesting that maybe people may not know, obviously, about you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Hi guys, my name is Sheree-ann Michelle Abrahams, but I refer to myself as Sheree-ann Michelle. I just love my middle name, so I guess that's something interesting. I'm a pharmacist. I'm also a functional medicine health coach. I'm the founder of the Lifestyle, which is my health and wellness business. And I'm also the founder of the Global Association of Pharmacists and Health Coaching. And I'm a mom to a lovely little boy. Well, he's not little now, he's 8 years old. And his name is Caleb.
Oh, it's so lovely to have you on. Thank you so much again for agreeing to. I think that when I came across your profile, I think on LinkedIn, I was kind of like, this is so interesting. I would love to kind of connect with somebody who isn't just a pharmacist, but is also big on health.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
be honest, I think that obviously as pharmacists, we play a big role
Mhm,
for, I guess, our professionally for our patients, but also just like for our community. So, you
mhm.
know, our families, our friends, the people we know, and especially for ourselves. So I
Yes,
do feel
yeah.
like it gave me so much confidence being able to reach out to you and
Mhm,
find out how you basically diversify your pharmacy skills and you made it
mm,
merge into this new kind of like flow and pattern that you have. So I guess give us a bit of like,
yeah.
what's the background? Like what, you know, pharmacy wise, what was your motivation for coming into pharmacy and what were your
Okay.
desires and stuff?
So this is interesting. I didn't want to be a pharmacist. That's the truth of it. I wanted to be a pediatrician, an obstetrician, one or the other. And yeah, I just said to myself, I'm going to work with children. I want to deliver babies and all of that. And then I had the harsh reality of needing certain subjects. So I did my pharmacy degree in Jamaica, for those that don't know. So, you know, you have certain prerequisites that you need to get into medicine, and physics wasn't my best friend. And I needed physics. You needed a certain amount of sciences. So I loved chemistry, loved biology, did not like physics.
Me too.
So I knew I needed that to get into med school. So I decided to take a different route and just join the University of West Indies, but through like a first degree, like doing some pure applied science. And thinking, okay, yes, I'm going to get into med school now. I'm going to do this degree, and halfway through, I'm going to transfer into med school, get the grades. And then all of a sudden, I had to withdraw from the University of West Indies at least 3 months into my start date. So this is me fresh into uni, super excited, first experience in university, and then having to be told that I had to withdraw. And it was because I didn't have my Jamaican citizenship. So previously, I had been living in Jamaica for nearly 10 years up until that point. I was originally born in the UK, left when I was about 8 years old. My dad took myself and my brother to Jamaica. So I went to prep school in Jamaica. I went to high schools, about 3 different high schools in Jamaica, and finally got into university only to be told that I'm going to have to withdraw because I don't have my Jamaican citizenship, and they were charging me as an international student, which was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah.
Even though you're originally of Jamaican descent, right?
Yes, because my dad is Jamaican. So I'm Jamaican by naturalization,
Yeah.
but they were very strict that when it comes to students, I couldn't produce a Jamaican passport. I had a British one, but I didn't have a Jamaican one.
Wow.
So that resulted in them telling me, you either pay loads of money at the time, and it's probably even more now, but withdraw. And to be honest, that was my first lowest point that I ever experienced, because you know, what do you do after that? Your whole life is kind of dictated by the educational system. What do I do? I'm now not in university. I want to do meds. Now doing med has completely gone out the window. What am I going to do? And at that point, I decided I want to do pharmacy.
Mm.
And it just kind of found me in a way. And I was just thinking, if I'm not going to do med, let me do the next second best thing, which is how I started at the time. I love being a pharmacist now. I wouldn't have it any other way. But I went and I applied to the University of Technology, which basically is the adjacent university, basically right across the road from the University of West Indies. But I had to wait another year basically to get in, because, I apply and then I'm out. Yeah. So during that time, I got a job. I got my first job working in a pharmaceutical industry. And that was in a distributorship. So it was for one of those companies that housed a lot of the big pharma companies. And I got a job there working as a pharmacy promoter, just walking around to the pharmacies with my little basket, selling vitamins. And yeah, that was the beginning of my first experience actually being in a pharmacy.
One of the things that I wanted to highlight is obviously in regards to experience that you get when you're younger and how that affects different things. So you transitioned through pharmacy school, done pharmacy school, and when you graduated, you went into working, when like full-time work, you worked in a pharma company, right?
Yeah.
So do you think, was that something that when you were in pharmacy school, you decided that you wanted to do like industry, like pharmaceutical industry, or was it something that kind of just came along because you had already like been working a job?
It came along in a way. So I worked straight through pharmacy school. I had a part-time job straight through. So I worked every Saturday, every evening, majority of my evenings. So the path was almost dictated for me because it was one of those situations where I had to work because I was the one sending myself to school, supplementing my tuition. So it was non-negotiable. Yeah. And working for the distributor, it gave me that other picture of pharmacy that we don't ever really get to see when we're in pharmacy school. And that's, how the products are made, how they're distributed, the sales plans, the marketing plans, the promotions. I used to go on the radio and talk about the vitamins while I was in pharmacy school that I was promoting. So that was super fun. Mm-hmm. So when I got to the end, I remember one of the pharmacists at the distributor company came to me and she said to me, Sheree-ann, you're not going to get any higher in the company if you just stay where you are. So she brought to me a job description of a job that was going. So I never knew it was advertised. She just brought it to me. Wow. And she said, I think you'd be perfect for the position. Yeah. And it was for AstraZeneca. Wow. And it was for a pharmacy sales promoter. So once again, looking after the AstraZeneca products, but within the pharmacy and just promoting the patient side of supporting the products. Yeah. So it found me, and that naturally pulled me into that job with AstraZeneca while I was a pharmacy intern. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as I got my pharmacy degree, I got a job automatically as a med rep. They were like waiting for me to just get my degree, and I became a medical rep as well.
It's kind of transition into work life as a pharmacist. So did you enjoy being working in the pharmaceutical industry? Did you have any experience working like in hospital or retail? And like, did you get an opportunity to compare like the two? And would you say you preferred the industry? How did you find it working in industry?
Okay, so to answer your first question, I think your second question, if I worked in retail and hospital, so yes, I've worked in retail and hospital. So I did my internship in the different hospitals, a public hospital, a children's hospital, a mental health hospital. So that gave me an experience of working as a hospital pharmacist. Yeah. I loved it. So even though I had my other job working for AstraZeneca, so this is before I actually graduated, there was something I really loved about working in a children's hospital. So if they didn't offer me that job, in my mind, I was thinking, I want to be a hospital pharmacist. I want to work with children. And also I used to do freelancing in a community pharmacy as well on the weekends. So I still worked probably every Saturday and Sunday in one of the local pharmacies, seeing patients. And that reminded me of how much actually that developed my love for just speaking to the patient and doing the counseling. I loved that bit.
Yeah.
Packing the medication and all of that, getting it, seeing if it's right. That's okay. But I loved the conversations and getting to know their lives and stuff.
Yeah.
So I did all of that, plus Monday to Friday now. So this is now graduated pharmacy school, worked for AstraZeneca, first job in the pharma industry, selling 2 of their cardiovascular products. And that was glamorous. That part of the job was glamorous. So remember, I've just graduated. So I had a lovely car, brand new spanking car. Wow. I was getting paid in US dollars. Wow. And my salary went up every single month because of inflation. Wow. So the value of Jamaican dollar declined. I would get more money every single month. We would go on trips to Dom Rep and Trinidad. I did my training in Trinidad. The conferences, beautiful, the glitz and the glamour. And as much as I loved, once again, engagement with the doctors, engagement with the nurses, the pharmacists, I didn't really like selling. And I didn't really like speaking to a script. So I enjoyed, what makes it easy is when you love the products that you're promoting, right? And you believe in them. So I believed in the products that I was promoting. So it was very easy for me to communicate it. But one thing I didn't like was the KPIs and having to see 6 doctors in a day and having to tick boxes. But whenever it came down to the black and white, how many doctors have you seen? What are your sales looking like? That I really didn't like.
Just thinking about that, it's probably the same with a lot of community pharmacists as well, because I know with the way community is going in many countries now, wherever you are, there are a lot of KPIs tied to it. You know,
yes.
How many MURs in England is called MURs, medicines used. How many of those can you do? How many like aspirin bottle branded can you sell? How many this is a lot of that involved. And I think as pharmacists, I think probably as healthcare professionals overall, we are trained in such a way where we don't focus on that. Our focus is
just want to help.
Helping the engagement we have with the patients, you know, being able to provide them things that we believe will help them. So that's like true traits of a health professional. Fast forward through your time working, you know, as a pharmacist in Jamaica, in industry, you then move back to the UK. Now, most people, when they move to another country, they automatically believe that they have to follow that pharmacist path. So that includes going back to do exams, making sure you're registered and licensed. So was that your thought process when you were coming to the UK? Were you thinking, okay, I'm going to get licensed, I'm going to get on the GHC register, and then I'm going to find work? Or were you kind of just like, I'm going to move and just figure out what I want to do when I get there?
It was the first one. So my intention was to just get registered, and I did all the research. I knew exactly what conversion I had to do, exams to do. I knew what schools I had to go to. But the reality hit that I had a young son. He was about 6 months at the time when I moved back here. And I moved back here very unexpectedly. It wasn't planned. And my intention wasn't to stay as long as I ended up staying. Like the end of this month, June, it's going to make 8 years I've been in the UK. And that was not my intention when I left Jamaica, the day that I left. So when I came here and I realized that, okay, I'm going to be settling here, it was automatic. I want to do my conversion, etc. But they required so much. That was the first thing. There was a lot that they required: transcripts from my university, exams, you know, English exams and things that they wanted to take. And I made up my mind that, okay, I'm going to do that. However, I thought to myself, after I saw the amount that they were charging to do it, and I just thought to myself, why don't I just get a job? I need money now. And why don't I just get a job in pharma? I've worked in pharma for, I think at that time, it was about 3 or 4 years in Jamaica, and I've worked for some of the leading companies. Oh, it'll be easy for me just to get a job over here in pharma. It was not the case. It was not easy at all. And after applying to many places, I finally got through to a company that was willing to take me on. I had my Jamaican driver's license. They helped me change it to a UK. So I just kept pursuing. I kept applying. I had to just learn. And the more I got those jobs and I got promotions in the pharma industry, doing my conversion just seemed less and less important. Because I am still a pharmacist no matter what country I go to.
I think sometimes, so you mentioned you didn't get licensed with the GPHC.
No.
And I don't think many people know that you don't actually have to. And that doesn't just apply in the UK, but it actually applies in any country. If you're working for a pharma industry, industrial kind of organization, AstraZeneca, GSK, unless you're doing like patient-facing roles, I believe, unless you're doing clinical stuff, you don't necessarily need to be licensed, right? So you can you can start off as a sales representative,
hospital rep, key account manager,
who are doing even like MSLs, so
you don't need to be registered.
So you don't need to be. So I think just kind of like, I guess from your different perspective, you were able to tell yourself much further than you would have gone had you done the process. And I think what I wanted to focus specifically on was the fact that you didn't stop at no. Like for you moved essentially kind of like with no plan. You didn't
no plan. That's so true. I didn't think of it like that.
And then like starting over again. How did you what was that process like? You know, having to start again, not wanting to get licensed or realizing that licensing wasn't the path you wanted to go to. So it's almost as if everything you're maybe used to or maybe you're familiar with is kind of thrown out the window. So you're starting from scratch. What was that? What was that kind of process like?
It was very scary. It was very like, it just has to work.
Yeah.
The next step just has to work because it's that intrinsic motivator. And that was my child at the time. I've made this big decision. It just has to work. That was my mindset. And I remember going for the interviews and knowing that I could do this job and them telling me, you don't have UK experience. I'm like, that makes no sense because I can learn. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But it was real to them. And it wasn't until it was one of the, because over here the repping is slightly different. They have big agencies that hire reps and they do multiple products for multiple companies. Okay. And one of the companies hired me and they said, Sheree-ann, you'll be amazing. We're going to start you on the lowest salary. Oh my gosh, was it low? Very, very low. But you'll learn very quickly. And I was promoting GSK products, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, all in one go. So I was able to use that experience really quick to say on my resume, I promoted for this company, that company in one role. I then asked for more money because I literally couldn't live on what I was doing. And then I kept just getting promotions, working for different companies. But it just had to work. That was my mindset. It's been an emotional roller coaster, like every emotion you can imagine, like what am I doing? And even in between that process, I kept thinking, should I go back? And every interview I did, every interviewer asked me, why aren't you going back and doing pharmacy? They asked me that question. And I said, it's too expensive, number one. It'll take a year for me just to become an intern again, then get paid. It just doesn't make any sense to come out on the same salary, to go back into community. No. And I would always say, I feel like I can have a greater impact to the patient when I talk directly to the prescriber that's writing the medication. And that's what I always used to say. And as a pharmacist, I'm not just there to sell, I'm actually thinking from the patient's perspective. So I found it more rewarding.
One thing I was actually thinking this week, I came across, whether it was a podcast I was listening to or post, and they were saying, take the end goal out of your mind, put the end goal, whatever journey it is you're on, whether it's your career, your health, your business, you have to kind of take the end goal out of
Yeah.
mind. Don't focus on it too much, and just focus on the journey and the things that it's bringing you. Because from what you said, like the different things that you have been through on your journey has like taught you things, but also brought you great things to enjoy in that moment, if that makes sense.
Yes, it
So,
has.
so the
That's so
end
true.
goal was for you to obviously have a life where you can provide well for your son and a good life, and be able to earn and enjoy kind of, I guess, the freedom of being like an adult who's just enjoying life. But essentially, along that journey to get to essentially where you are today, there were different things that came along your way that you had the opportunity to enjoy. And I think sometimes when you're transitioning, and this is specifically for UK pharmacists who might be wanting to transition out of a particular like path and wanting to go somewhere else. Maybe you do have a desire to go into pharma, or you have a desire to go into, you know, a different aspect or a different, a completely new pathway. It might seem scary, and it might seem like, I don't know what I'm doing, but you have to kind of put whatever that end goal is out of mind, as difficult as it is, and just enjoy navigating through the changes, and experience the now, experience the different things that are coming at you now.
Yeah, and I understand that that's easier said than done. I know it's easier said than done, but it's worth it though. That's what I would say. Just make that step. And I always say to myself, what if it actually works? Like, what if this step actually works for you? And I always believe that everything is just always working out for me, even though I can't see it on paper sometimes. And it's funny that you said, you know, there's so much of this journey that I've enjoyed, but there's also so much of that journey that I've learned. Just take the step. That's what all I would say. Just take the first step, and then the next one, and the next logical one. Like, don't overthink it. That's what I would say.
Also, just remembering that there are always rewards for change. Like, it's so tough. Like, like so challenging when things are different, and it's not what you're used to, and it's out of your comfort zone, but there's so much reward at the other side of discomfort. So, and it might not necessarily be a material reward, it might be like actually mentally being in a better position. Maybe you are earning more, or you're owning your own business. You have had that mental experience from somewhere else. And I always say this, encouraging pharmacists to not think, okay, because we went to school and we predominantly learned about hospital and community pharmacy, doesn't mean that pharmacy school didn't prepare you for other skills. So I think it's a bit about being open-minded, being able to know that, you know, we can navigate through, I guess, those different roles that are available.
Yeah, and being honest about what you really want.
Yeah,
like what you really want. And it's and if you have trouble wondering what that is, I will then say to you, think about what makes you smile, what makes you laugh. When you do go into work, what is there any aspect of it that you really enjoy?
So I listened to a podcast that you were on a few months back, and you mentioned a lot of things about, like, you know, pharmacy school having to redo a year because you failed a course, and you know, even from having to drop out at the beginning when you did join that initial university. So like how do you deal with failure, and how do you deal with kind of like being knocked down?
Like you, I am very hard on myself. That's the first thing, and it's to turn that hardness into compassion. Because even as you're speaking, I'm getting goosebumps, because it's literally what we do. We're so hard on ourselves. We need to turn that hardness, that criticism, into compassion. We have to turn it into compassion, because to keep it the other way, it doesn't motivate us. It keeps us down. It reinforces what happened. And what I tend to say I talk to myself. I'm very good at encouraging myself. The thing is, I just, reframing is something that I do. And I didn't know what it was until I went into coaching. But what reframing is like, I find the positive in it. And I say, okay, you know, what am I supposed to learn from this? I personally, for me, don't believe anything in my life happens by chance or coincidence. But I realized that even when things didn't work out for me, quotation mark, it still did. Things aren't going your way, or you get those setbacks, just know that there's something beyond your desire that's going to happen. And that's the bit. It's beyond your desire. And what we see as failure sometimes is things not working out the way we expect it to win. Set yourself up to win, right? And then secondly, know that if things don't work out the way you expect, there's power in it. There's still a power in it. There's a story in it. And one way or the other, you're going to grow, because you only go up. When you take that step, you celebrate yourself.
Yes.
It's so key, because we will finish pharmacy school, we'll do the paper, we'll lose the weight, but yay. But then we keep going, and then we're quick to criticize when things don't work well. We need to celebrate ourselves. It our brain has a way of just capturing those moments that make us feel good. So it doesn't matter how small the step is.
Absolutely. I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's been so inspirational, motivational for myself as well. I guess my last point would be, you are obviously a health coach, and you help people, find themselves again, and, live their lives in a happy and joyful way. So if people are looking to reach out, how can they contact you? How can they join your program and have you as their coach?
Lovely. So yes, I specialize in us women. I love working with women. I work with women basically that have the same story as mine. I help women to love their self in a sustainable way, and do that through making healthy habits, helping them to be confident and have that consistency, and not feeling like they're doing that through restrictive dieting and workout programs and things that are not unique to their lifestyle. So I'm the founder of The Chia Lifestyle. You can find me on Instagram at you just at The Chia Lifestyle, or at Sheree-ann Michelle. Just send me a message, and I'll definitely love to hear from you. Or if there's anything within my story that really has touched you, just please do not hesitate, reach out. I will respond. I love to voice note, so you'll get a voice note from me. But yes, they can find me. And I have a website as well, www.thechialifestyle.com.
I'll definitely put all the details in the description box. And I guess you also have a LinkedIn, so anyone who maybe want to connect professionally.
Yes, Sheree-ann Michelle.
I will definitely put all those details below. I hope that you guys have felt inspired by this conversation, your journey and everything, just learning how to deal with the different ups and downs of life. It's so important to be able to listen to other people's journeys, because it helps to push us forward, encourages us to keep going. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you so much.